Ah yes, the Joker. The clown prince of crime, Batman's arch nemesis, and perhaps one of pop culture's most complex supervillains. Gotta love his portrayal in movies and the memorable moments actors bring to the table. Like, who can forget Jack Nicholson's Joker when he says, "Wait till they get a load of me," before laughing to himself hysterically. Or when he asks people if they've ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight. Or how about Heath Ledger's Joker always asking, "Why so serious?" Or when he keeps asking menacingly if people want to know how he got his scars. I mean, it sends chills down your spine. Or what about Jared Leto's Joker when he, says, "I'm not gonna kill you, I'm just gonna hurt you really, really bad." I mean, that could work under a certain context. Or when he says, "This handsome hunka, Harley, you belong to him now," as he gets off on the idea of a stranger taking his woman. That's a bit weird. Or apparently there's a part where he has a mouth tattooed on his hand, and he puts it up to his face, and then he cackles? Really? I mean, who wrote this? Suicide Squad is a mess. I want to say bad, but that's not quite it. Not only because of the whole beauties in the eye of the beholder thing, but because bad would be like The Last Airbender or the new Fantastic Four. No, this movie is flawed. And before anyone rushes to the comment section to say that, "Well, I enjoyed the movie, so you're wrong," I am not arguing about enjoyment. A movie or other piece of work having problems is a very separate issue. Trust me, you can totally enjoy the flawed thing, so no need to sit there and try to defend it as if your life depends on it. This video is to analyze the flaws and then see how the movie maybe could have done better. And it is for fun. We all clear? Good. Now let's continue. For starters, the movie has strange pacing and story progression. Did anyone notice that Amanda Waller kind of explains what the Suicide Squad is on 3 different occasions? She introduces the inmates and their abilities at a dinner meeting, then again when she justifies the idea to Rick Flag by comparing it to World War II and the use of the Mafia by the Navy, and then again at a sort of conference at the Pentagon. And this, of course, is while certain characters like Will Smith's Deadshot get 3 introductions. First, we see him in prison being mistreated, then we get a flashback to one of his mercenary kills as Amanda Waller talks about him, and then we once again are told how good he is with guns when Rick Flag asks him to prove himself with target practice. And while characters like Deadshot and Harley Quinn get extended intros, others like Katana and Slipknot get virtually nothing. Katana just randomly hops onto the plane with the rest of the squad, and Slipknot,
"Here comes Slipknot, the man who can climb anything,"
is pointed out as being Slipknot. It definitely ends up feeling like character introductions for these guys were missing. If you're paying attention, then you will notice other bits of plot that are dropped, / glossed over, / seemingly cut. For instance, near the beginning of the movie, they show us an abusive guard who enjoys mistreating the inmates. It seems to be setting up to him getting some sort of comeuppance, then nothing. Likewise, we get to a part where Rick Flag and the Enchantress-possessed June Moon are sent after Incubus, and then out of nowhere, Rick Flag tells Amanda over radio that Enchantress bolted. It then cuts to Enchantress being fixed up by her brother. It may not sound like a big deal, but while watching it, it definitely feels like a strange jump and out of place. And oh yeah, notice how during the bar scene, Captain Boomerang runs off the first chance he gets, and then just randomly shows up again with no explanation? Why? I think the implication is that he came back for his friends. But that's just so stupid. Number 1, it doesn't really fit the character of a cowardly thief. And number 2, what's the point of him fighting anyway when he is super underpowered? That, of course, brings me to a very big issue, not just with the movie, but how it fits into the DC extended universe as well. You see, established in DC Comics in 1987, the Suicide Squad, also known as Task Force X, is an anti-hero team of supervillains working for the government in exchange for shorter prison time. They are supposed to be an expendable group of death row inmates chosen to do the most dangerous, high-risk, Black Ops level dirty work for director Amanda Waller. However, when it comes to the DCEU version of the Squad, Amanda Waller talks about how the appearance of Superman and other metahumans has basically changed the rules of the game, and says, quote, "In a world of flying men and monsters, this is the only way to protect our country." Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, take a moment to let that sink in. This version of the Suicide Squad is not formed for the purpose of having an expendable team that can do what others can't or don't want to do due to danger or political boundaries, but to fight Superman and Doomsday level threats. That would mean that somewhere, someone flipped through the files of a crazy clown girl with the bat, and a thief who throws boomerangs, and some jerk who can grapple hook up stuff and said, "Yup, this is my team. Those super-powered aliens don't stand a chance." Oh, God, I need a minute. Alrighty, I'm back. Anyway, screw it. Suspension of disbelief. I mean, as long as the characters are good and used to their full potential, then maybe it can work. That, of course, brings me to the problems with the characters. For starters, any characters besides Deadshot and Harley Quinn get virtually no backstory. Yes, we get a bit of story about Rick Flag's involvement with Enchantress, and near the end, we learn about the tragedy in El Diablo's life. But as far as Katana, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, and Slipknot, we get nothing. Speaking of which, to even consider Slipknot a member of the Squad is laughable. He shows up unceremoniously in a car, they say his name, and then he eats it like a goober. Hell, his role is so unmemorable that while brainstorming this video, I mentioned him to a friend of mine, and she couldn't even remember who I was talking about. As for the rest of the Squad, they're all kind of lame. If we look at this helpful little diagram, we can see both their silliness and one-dimensionalness. Captain Boomerang throws boomerangs. Deadshot just shoots guns. El Diablo refuses to even use his powers. Enchantress is some weird dancing lady. Harley Quinn is a crazy girl with the bat. Joker, who contrary to marketing barely even comes out in the movie, is some strange juggalo Ace Ventura love child.
This handsome hunka hunka. You belong to him now.
Katana, surprise surprise, uses a katana. Killer Croc acts like a racial stereotype. Rick Flag explains everything out loud, and Slipknot uses rope to climb stuff, I think. And while I get that each character has their motif or theme or whatever, what I don't get is why they weren't more creative with it. Boomerang should be like the Hawkeye of the group. Sure, he uses primitive weapons, but tricks them out. Smaller boomerangs, larger boomerangs, boomerangs with explosives, super sharp ones that could decapitate someone, etc. Meanwhile, instead of being some fairly human-sized, hoodie-wearing, strange comic relief, Killer Croc should be, well, a killer. He should basically be the Hulk, a monstrous green rage machine. Is Katana supposed to be a Master Swordswoman? Then let's see her cut people down left and right. And as for Harley Quinn, I mean, they open with her doing some crazy gymnastics in her cell, show off her crazy acrobatic skills as she takes down enemies. El Diablo being reluctant is fine, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe explain why he is able to go full Aztec-looking fire god at the end. And as for our gunmen, Flag and Deadshot, give them bigger guns and or more creative ways to use them. Alright, we know that there are problems with the movie. Now how do we fix it? What would a better version of this movie look like? Okay, picture this. To begin with, we need to make it rated R. Deadpool proved that an R-rated movie can be profitable, and with the studio bragging about how dark this film was going to be, time to go big or go home. Next up, we need a crazy action-packed opening sequence that not only introduces the characters, but shows off their abilities. The way I see it, the movie can open with Amanda Waller going to one of her meetings. We hear the dialogue about how the appearance of Superman changed the world, and see the scenes from his funeral. Then, we hear her explain that in a world so dangerous such as this, they can't afford to waste resources. The life of every soldier is important, because they never know when they might need them to defend against threats. What is needed is people who are expendable, individuals who no one will miss, and who can be tossed at conflicts without it mattering if some die along the way. Some sort of general or other higher up asks her who she has in mind. She says she has a group that is currently being tested with the mission as they speak. We cut to the back of a group shot and see that they're in some sort of crazy looking war zone. A song starts playing, Rick Flag gives the group the signal, and they get to work. If we look to the Borderlands series, the games do a great job of blasting a song along as they showcase who the characters are and what they can do. Going the video game route can be tricky, but similarly, I propose an over-the-top showcase of the characters mowing down enemies and having those title cards from the movie pop up next to them. In this way, right off the bat, we know who these people are, what they do, and we get some pretty nice action. And of course, as I said, this is all R-rated, meaning we get some pretty gnarly gore along the way. Finish up with the strongest member, Enchantress, destroying the remaining opposition, and then cut back to the government meeting. And just what shall we call this mysterious task force, an unimpressed looking official asks. As Amanda Waller is about to respond, the title screen pops up, Suicide Squad. From here we get some downtime in which it shows the squad back in prison. At this point we get character backstory for everyone, such as the stuff with Deadshot and his daughter, some of the Harley Quinn Joker flashbacks, and how June Moon got possessed. Not only that, but we get the information about the other characters that we never got. We can reveal that some of the squad, such as Killer Croc and Harley, like this arrangement where they get to do missions. Killer Croc, who in this version is more deadly, simply likes tearing people apart, while Harley enjoys getting to leave her cell. Boomerang and El Diablo can be against the idea since Boomerang is a huge coward and El Diablo, similar to his character now, can be reluctant to use his powers. Meanwhile, Deadshot isn't different as he sees this as just another job. At this point, we see that Rick Flag is not too happy with being in charge of the squad, but Amanda Waller convinces him to stay as he will be able to watch over June. Not only that, but he has a new partner/bodyguard in the form of Katana, who gets a proper introduction and explains her sword. The action begins to rev up again as we see June struggling to control her Enchantress powers. In fact, Enchantress talks to June and explains about how she is pissed about not only humanity not worshipping her, but the whole being trapped in her body thing, and will soon take over. She astral projects and does that thing where she summons her brother, only without it looking like crappy CGI and all. Rick Flag comes to see June, only to see Enchantress take over and peace out. And so, with Enchantress and Incubus wreaking havoc, the Suicide Squad is once again brought back together. Whether they are looking forward to another mission or not, they have the nano bombs implanted in their necks to keep them under control. They are told at this point by Amanda Waller that they must save a high-profile target. As the squad is about to board the plane, they are told they have a new member and Slipknot is dragged in. From here, the movie can basically progress as it originally did, but with some minor changes. For one, no Joker scenes. As great as it would be to include him, it feels out of place. In the movie itself, his scenes felt forced and of no consequence. Stick to a few flashbacks and that's basically it. Next, switch up the Enchantress's look. Instead of starting with the grimy dark look and going to the shiny headdress look, do it the other way around. Once she goes rogue is when she should gain her more sinister appearance. As for those weird faceless blob-like minions that the squad fights, make them more humanoid and maybe zombie looking. That way the squad taking them down is more, personal, and not just like they're destroying objects or robots. As for Slipknot, how about he actually gets showcased for more than 5 seconds? Show that he basically grapples around like Batman and takes people down from above. Maybe he even uses his ropes to strangle people and or string them up like a noose. And as for how he dies, I don't know. Maybe a supply drop lands on the edge of a building and he has asked to retrieve it, and he does, but before he can get back down, he is suddenly ambushed by some enemies. At this point he asks to be spared, and so Rick Flag detonates his bomb. Bam. One death to show this is serious and to prove the nano bombs are real. Yeah, that's right. You're welcome, actor who played Slipknot, as I just gave you a bigger role. The Suicide Squad fights their way through the city, showcasing their unique brand of ultraviolence along the way. Include more character backstory as deemed necessary, character interactions when needed, and jokes when appropriate. And yes, show us that these people are indeed villains. Maybe Boomerang can loot corpses and talk crap about dead people. Croc can tear through bodies in disgusting ways, and I don't know. Everyone can be at each other's throats basically at all times. Don't tell us you are bad guys or steal a purse. Show us. Like in the movie, the squad should eventually realize the mark is Amanda Waller and learn what a dangerous woman she is. Then, skipping the awkward Joker steals the chopper only to get shot down and Harley rejoins the team 5 minutes later business, Amanda Waller gets kidnapped by Enchantress. Should we still have the bar scene amongst all hope seeming lost? Yeah, why not? Only difference is, have it be less jokey and more reflective. Flag can ask them why they choose to be villains and act the way they do, and perhaps they can respond with how society looks down on them and this is all they know how to do. Sure, it's a dumb actiony movie, but that doesn't mean we can't have a moment to make us think. At this point, El Diablo can reveal the tragedy in his life, and Flag can free everyone from the bombs. Not before giving them a bit of a pep talk about doing whatever they want and maybe proving everyone wrong. As he leaves to fight the threat, Boomerang of course pieces out. Deadshot will decide to redeem himself and help, while the rest of the team will claim they have nothing better to do. The final fight can play out about the same, except that it will have a much more extended fight between Incubus and Diablo. Meanwhile, everyone else will fight through minions as they try to reach Enchantress. Captain Boomerang is here as well, not by choice, but because he is my unwilling comic relief and somehow gets caught in all the crossfire. Finally, as for how the Enchantress is taken down, don't have Harley do it. It should be more of a team effort, and Katana should have the finishing blow since she, owns the magic sword. As the film draws to a close, Waller thanks everyone, takes 10 years off their sentences, and they ask for what they want. Deadshot gets to see his daughter, Harley gets her stupid cappuccino machine, Croc gets his TV and, no, not burgers, huge slabs of steak for a guy his size, and Boomerang gets a huge pink unicorn to keep in his cell. Everyone is back in prison, all is back to normal, and then suddenly, bam, a break-in into Harley's cell. In his only non-flashback appearance, Joker reveals himself and tells Harley something like, "I finally found you, let's go home." It can be foreshadowed at some point with dialogue about how her pudding will find her, and yet still be unexpected. Not only that, but it helps to serve to set up some sort of sequel. Roll credits. Whew. And that, everyone, is how I would fix up / rewrite the movie. I think it helps fix up pacing and story progression, balances out the characters, brings some of the darkness that was promised through the R rating, and best of all, helps with suspension of disbelief, since we established that they are not formed to fight Superman-level threats, but to do government dirty work. But hey, that's just me trying my best to redo a whole movie. So remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just a wannabe reviewer. Thanks for watching. Hello, and welcome to end of the video outro time. This video was pretty long, as I had a lot to say, so I will try to keep this short. As always, thank you to everyone who watched my video, and especially those of you still watching. I hope that you all enjoyed my rewrite / fix of the movie, or I don't know, at least got something out of it. As always, pretty standard stuff. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and feel free to state your opinion in the comments below. Be honest with me, I'm a big boy, and I promise to only cry a little bit. And hey, if you like this video and want more like it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button to get more. I mean, if YouTube doesn't give you any problems, that is. Know a great way to know when my videos are out, even if YouTube screws things up? My social media. Feel free to add me for video updates and all sorts of other shenanigans. And last but not least, why not check out my other videos I've done, which should be playing on the screen as I speak. Until next time, thanks for watching.